growth, and change. They've got to prove they can become a leader. And this plan has proven itself over time to be the most lucrative dynamic plan ever in the history of this industry. Period, you guys. You are in the perfect place to make this thing happen and make it happen for yourself. All right, now let's go ahead to the next slide. You might recognize some of these average incomes right here, right? You can see all the way down from gold to lapis to ruby, emerald, diamond, blue diamond, and team elite across the top. And you can see that if you're a blue diamond last year, in the United States, actually 2004 numbers, you made $528,000, right? And how much is that? About $45,000 a month. Is that worth it? You think it's worth it to be a blue diamond? Okay. Yeah, it's worth it, believe me. And it can get a lot better than that. I got a question for you. $45,000 a month as a blue diamond is a far cry from $113,400 a month that I just showed you on the previous slide. So what gives? Was I lying then or am I lying now? Neither. I'm not lying at all. Okay? How come they're so different? This is an important question for everybody in this room. We publish the numbers. Okay, somebody just said the back end is not full yet. That's true. How long does it take to fully mature a 6th-generation breakaway compensation plan? Is it a lot of work to fully mature it? How long does it take for you to find all your 12? And then for them to dive in and find their 4, 5, 12, 6, 8, whatever it is, or none. Or have those 3rd-level people find their people, and the 4th find theirs, and the 5th find theirs, and the 6th find theirs. How long does it take to fully mature a 6th-level compensation plan? I think it's about 10 years. I think it's about 10 years to fully mature it. That's just the average, guys. Some blue diamonds and team elites are making a lot more than that. There's a whole bunch of them making a lot less than that, right? That's just the average right there. You understand that? It's just time. It just takes some time for you to mature this. Now, we're going to teach you some principles in just a second here about driving these lines and how that will help you to solidify, to fill out these levels in a way that you probably would have never filled them out as quickly as this. So we're going to jump into that here in just a second so you can see. I want you to understand clearly what it takes to make $10,000 a month. Let's kind of back up. Now that I've given you this big global picture, let's come right down to your life, to your chair where you're sitting right now. Okay, you're brand new or you've been in the business a few months. You are hoping to make $10,000. Maybe that's your first waypoint. For some of you, it's probably 5. Make $5,000, you're going to feel really good about yourself and go, okay, I'm survivable, and now I can keep moving on. I want to start at 10. Okay? What does it take for you to make $10,000 per month in this company? And I'm not talking about all the extra stuff. I'm talking permanent income, $10,000 a month. How many people's lives would change if you knew you had $10,000 a month coming in your mailbox every month no matter what? How would that be? How would that change your life? Visualize that. Think about that. That's nice. That's very significant. It's not easy to do. How do you do it? You got to realize, guys, permanent residual income is a different animal than anybody else gets, even people with their own businesses, okay? They've still got to show up. They've got to manage those employees, right? Because nobody cares about it like them. How do you create permanent residual income? It's a really rare, unique kind of income to get. So few people in this world ever get that kind of income. They don't even really know what it means. And they don't even believe it because they just can't imagine it, that it could actually just keep coming in. You know? That's what they don't get. This is way different than virtually what you can get any place. And it's really difficult to create it, but once you have it, it's really solid and it's really amazing. It's the best kind because it gives you your life. At the same time, you get the money. Most people don't get that. That's really hard to get. I'm going to give you worst case. I always deal in worst case. All right? This is the worst case right here. For you to make $10,000 per month, you have to get $200,000 in volume, don't you? Worst case, you do. How are you going to create $200,000 in volume in your group? A lot of you just did $10,000 in volume last month, or maybe $3,000. You maybe can't even conceive of getting $200,000. It is the system, guys. It's LOIs. It's constantly saying to your people, have you filed your LOI? Have you placed your LOI? Do you have your LOI done? How many LOIs do you have in your downline? How about your LOI? The LOI, the LOI. It's like you've got broken records about LOIs. Okay? Here's what it takes. $200,000 at 5% is $10,000, right? How do you get that done? Here's one way to get it done. You could go out there and create 20 executives that do 10,000 in group volume each, right? Wouldn't that be 200,000 in volume? Okay? How likely is that you're going to find 20 executives that will end up averaging 10,000 each? Not very likely, is it? I've already told you the average executive worldwide is about 4,000, right? Okay, well, that was before the scanner, all right? Now we're getting scanners out there. So, or, you can do this right here. How about creating 40 executives that do 5,000 in volume each? Is that plausible? That's very plausible. That is doable right there, okay? How do you create 40 executives? That sounds like an awful lot of work to do. Do you have to find all 40 yourself? Or are you going to duplicate a little bit? Yeah, you're going to duplicate. You're going to follow the system. Otherwise, it's probably impossible. But if you follow the system, it's totally plausible that it can happen. All right, so what does it take to succeed? Okay, let me show you these numbers that Scott gave us a while back, okay? What does it take to succeed? On average, a person who signs up today takes 3 years to land at Blue Diamond status. Okay, people say all the time, and I know they've said it to every leader in this room, what am I looking for? Who's my profile? Tell me what they all look like. Are they all 38-year-old females and they got a college degree and then they became Blue Diamonds? What is it? Okay, the answer is there is no profile. They come from every different walk of life. And so what you have to do is you have to go out there and just find motivated people, right? Do you understand the difference between trying to motivate people and finding motivated people? Those sound pretty close, but they're radically different. You are not here to motivate people. You're here to find those people that are already motivated, that have that fire burning so bad inside of them that they just it's gnawing at them to be successful in life. That's who you're looking for, and all of a sudden you match them up with this vehicle, right? And they commit, and they make the changes, and they become Blue Diamonds. It takes 3 years on average for the average Blue Diamond. We can look in our computers, and we can see that from the day they signed up to the day they landed there took 3 years. How many people do they have to sponsor? This is pretty interesting, isn't it? Okay? On average, the average Blue Diamond sponsors 151 distributors personally on their front line. 151! That's incredible, isn't it? How many weeks are in a year? That's on the screen. How many? 52. How many weeks in 3 years? It's on the screen, okay? There's 156 weeks in 3 years. So on average, the average Blue Diamond sponsored about one person a week, every week, for approximately 3 years. Are you willing to do that? Do you know why people don't make Blue Diamond status? Because they won't do that. Is it worth it to talk to enough people that you can sponsor a person a week and do that for the next 3 years? Is it worth it to do that for the next 3 years and then maybe 5 years once you're there to solidify it and build it bigger to average $45,000 a month? What else are you going to do in the next 5 years that you could have $45,000 a month of permanent residual income? Seriously. Tell me what it is, you guys. It's not real estate. Believe me, I did that one too. Doesn't work like that. You go close a deal, you're unemployed till the next closing. You try to close another one, you close it, and you get some money, and you're unemployed till the next one. Constant process of being unemployed till the next one. If you ever stop, it's over. Permanent residual income is really unique. Very difficult to find a vehicle that can even give that to you. And you're sitting in it. You're right here. I hope this is not lost on you. I hope you understand what it takes. So, just to summarize on the slide, that's it. How do you do that? Eric said it this morning. Talk to 3 new people every day. Do the 3-foot rule. Anybody who clips your fingertips, you're talking to them. All right? Walk and talk, smile and dial. That's all you got to do, right? Just keep talking to people. Like Russ said, when the phone's off the hook, you're in business, right? I say if your mouth's closed, you're out of business. Your business is closed. Your mouth's open, it's going like this. Your business is open. We're paid to talk to people. We are paid to recruit. You should spend 90% of your time in the first several years recruiting. And don't worry about the ones who leave because you can't make it the right time for them. Most of the reasons people quit our company have nothing to do with our company. Did you hear me? Most of the reasons people drop out of our business have absolutely zero to do with our business. So don't take that personal. Don't worry about that. You're looking for motivated people. You're looking for people that it's the right time in their life. Something has changed in their life. And all of a sudden, they're ready. They're sick and tired of being sick and tired. It's gnawing in their gut. They're looking, they're open, and they want it, and they're going to do it. All right, so what's a power line? Anybody know what a power line is? This is not one of those big lines on that tower suspended behind your house. Okay? This is a different kind of power line. What is a power line? Okay? A power line is this. Here's the definition right here. It's one leg of your business that runs to over 10 levels deep of executives, ultimately with blue diamond on top of blue diamond on top of blue diamond all the way down that line. That is a power line. If you can learn how to develop power lines, you can get really rich in this company. This is a technique, and it's a technique that dovetails, it kind of interacts with two really key parts of our compensation plan. And these key parts are ingenious. On the surface, most people look at it and say, that seems a little tough. These are the two key components that really move people, that really motivate them, and you need to understand them. And most of you have never understood this part, and you've got to listen close, and you've got to write down these notes today as we go through this. Let me tell you what's happened to me with these power lines, okay? What's a power line worth? One power line. I had a lot of people come to me last night and said, you know, what does it take to really be successful? How many people are you talking about? One. All you need is one really great person. That's all you need. You know, what if you would have sponsored Dan McCormick? Would you like to do that? What if you would have sponsored Lon Wardrop? What if you would have sponsored Peter and Carew Bannister? Okay? I mean, just for example's sake, there's a whole bunch in the room we could say that about, right? It just takes one really good person, you guys. You want to know the reality of it? Let me give you the straight facts here. The reality is most team elites and blue diamonds in this company have one power line. They've got one line that just took off and has made them their money, made them millions of dollars. That's the truth of it. If they have two power lines, they're really lucky. And you know why that is? Because most blue diamonds had no prior network marketing experience. They didn't know what to do, and they weren't that great at recruiting or presenting in the beginning. And what they did is they just slammed them against the wall. One a week. Wham! Will he stick? Boom! Went to the floor. Grab the next one. Wham! Will he stick? Boom! That guy went to the floor. Next one. Wham! Will he stick? Boom! He went. Oh. Next one. Wham! Oh, that guy's stuck. What do you know? That guy's scrambling up the wall. He's fighting, you know? And so it's just sheer numbers, isn't it? Sure it is. It's will they stick or not, and so they just plow through the numbers. They're really good recruiters. And maybe that's the best thing we can say to everybody here is just look at the numbers. Maybe that's what it's going to take for you. Now, honestly, for me, I didn't really do it like that. I had been in 2 companies before this one. I was kind of really prepared. I kind of knew what I needed to do. I didn't have to go through that previous 4 years of learning curve that you have to go through if this is your first experience. I spent 4 years, 2 in one company and 2 in another, learning this business. Okay? That's why I could go so fast in this one, guys. You know how lucky you are that you found the one right off the bat? My first one went bankrupt. My second one went bankrupt. That's not very fun, right? No, that really stinks. You don't want to do that. It's like a meat grinder. Bring all your friends in. Hey, all you guys, this is great. Come on in here. Ready to grind them up. Oh, man, your leg came off. Your head's over there. That's too bad. And so you found the right one right off the bat. How lucky is that? You are unbelievably lucky. You really, truly are. You have to get it. So you get serious about it and make it happen. What I did when I started recruiting is, you guys have heard my story, I sponsored 33 people the first year. 33. That's a little less than one a week, isn't it? That's one about every week and a half. I didn't do them like that. I sponsored a bunch of them in the first 3-4 months. Okay? I wanted to see who would play the game. At the end of that first year, 20 of them had in essence quit. Oh, they weren't out of the company. They'd buy product and stuff, but they weren't going to be executives. I didn't spend any time with them. Do you have time to spend with people that aren't going to be executives? No. Time's your enemy, guys. Most of you start part-time. You have no time. You've got to be really jealous about your time. You can't let anybody waste it. All right? You've got to be very focused on who you're going to spend your time with. That's what I do today. I train myself in those days, and it's a habit that I've acquired and you need to acquire. I listen to everybody. When you call me, I listen to the tone of your voice. I look in your eyes. I'm watching you. I'm watching your actions. I'm seeing who's really serious. Because I've got to make judgments about who I'm going to spend my time with. I don't have time to spend with everybody in my downline. I got to decide who I'm going to work with. Who's got the greatest potential for return. That's really the way it is. And so I'm making judgments all the time. I'm listening to you. I'm watching you. I'm looking at your actions. I'm listening to the tone of your voice. Don't call me with that nasal voice, okay? Nathan, it's really hard, you know. I don't know if I can do this or not. Okay? If you give me that nasal voice, I will give you dial tone pretty fast. Because I don't have time to waste with people that are going to be whiners and complainers like Harv talked about a minute ago. Because they've already got all kinds of stuff screwed up, okay? I just know that that's really a long shot. And so I'm going to work with people that are positive, that are calling me. You know, I'm not calling them every second, right? Do you have those people? You call them, come on, man, it's going to be really good. Man, you won't believe that conference. That conference is incredible. Too bad you weren't there. We're so sky high. Come on. You pump them up. Guys all pumped up. Hey, I got it. I got it. I'm going to do it. Call them the next day. Guys, I don't know, man. It's a bad night, you know. All of a sudden, come on, you can do it. I got it. Next day, same thing. Deflated. Do you have time to do that? No, you don't. You do not have time. They will suck your energy out of your body. They will suck you dry. Do you get that? You've got to guard your attitude like a big dog. Attitude is everything, right? It really is. Don't you believe that? You create your own reality by what you perceive. Your perceptions of this company and what you can do is your reality. If you want to change your reality, change your perception. Right? How do you change that? Go watch the goal setting video we did, okay? That's how you change your perception of reality. People say, well, you get them in the room and you just want them to drink your Kool-Aid. You bet. We want to drink all the Kool-Aid we can because it's not really good out there, you know? What's the options you have? You want to go drink their, lemonade? No. You don't have anything out there. There is nothing to go back to. There's no job you're going to go get that's going to be like this. Why would you ever go back to prison when you're free? You don't want to do that, right? That's the point of it. So yes, your life is made up of you drinking the Kool-Aid, you guys. It's called positive thoughts, positive words, positive action, doing something great for other people, helping them solve their problem, right? Isn't that it? It is it. That's what we do. And so don't let people belittle you by saying, oh, you're brainwashing that thing. Say, I'm really trying to get more brainwashed. I'm really trying to get into it, okay? That's what you have to do. Do you know what I did when I started? When I started, I had one of these stupid little flip charts, and right in the front it had one of those clear plastic covers. We had no brochures. I cut out these dumb little newspaper articles, and I had this picture of this lady with one side of her face good and the other bad, and all this kind of stuff. And I basically put it in this flip chart, and that was my presentation, really. In the front, I put my goal sheet. I slid it right in the front of that clear plastic, so every time I pulled out my flip chart, I could see my goals. You know what my 3 goals were? I wrote 3 things on that paper. Number 1, I wrote down, I will make $100,000 a month within 1 year in this company. That was my first goal. Wrote it right down right there. That was audacious. That was insane. Like whoever, could even think they could make that. I didn't care. Think big, guys, right? Wrote it down. Shoot for the stars. You might hit the moon, right? I wrote it down, 100,000. What was the second goal? The second goal was avoid negative people. Okay, now if that's your spouse, that's a problem. I can't really help you much on that one. Avoid negative people. Avoid them like the plague. That's really, really critical. And number 3, you know what it was? Never quit. Never quit. Those are my 3 goals. That was it. Very simple. And I would see them every day, many times. Do you think that programmed my mind? What was my 12th month check? $99,641.38. Okay? Oh no, I was mad. I was upset. I missed it by $358 and change. I was ticked. Okay? But it was still pretty good. And so, what are you going to do? Write it down. Read it every day, right? Scott Schwartz has given us a little statistic. They ran a report. They said, of all the people who've been executives or higher for 10 years or longer in this company, what percentage of those are blue diamonds? I'll say it again. What percentage of people who've been at least executives or higher in the comp plan for the last 10 years, have been at least executive or higher, what percentage are blue diamonds? 95%. What does that say to you? Don't quit. You just keep plotting. If it takes you 10 years, like it took Brent Bryson that you heard this morning, it took him 10 years. It's because that subway thing screwed up his mind for 10 years, right? You know, he got thinking different or something. We had to teach him. And all of a sudden, 10 years, he finally got it. Boom, his group just explodes. Okay? It's worth it. If it takes that long, it's worth it. What are you going to go back to? The ball and chain? What are you going to go back to? Nothing. More of the same. No hope, no future. Just rent your life to somebody. There isn't any alternative. Okay? So you suck it up and you get the job done. No excuses, right? You can make excuses or you can make money, but you can't make both. Can you? No, you can't. So no excuses except responsibility for yourself. What's a P.R.I.M.E worth? $20,000 to $40,000 per month. A really good one's worth $40,000. You know, kind of an average one's worth $20,000 or so. How many P.R.I.M.Es would you want? A whole bunch? Yeah. If you get one, it'll be really great, really great. But if you can manufacture power lines, not just executives, would that be even better? Yeah, that'd be really good, wouldn't it? All right, let's talk a little bit about a story here. There's a couple of people in this room that are part of this story, so I'll hear their names in a moment. They'll listen up here. I want to tell you how I started, because inside of this story, it's instructive. It covers everything, from startup to the end, and what you've got to do. And I want you to listen. I want you to take notes. Are you guys awake? Yeah. Are you guys with me? Okay. Okay, good. All right, let's start off and talk about how we did this. Right as I was sponsored, literally within a couple of days, and in fact, even the same day, I said, okay, I'm in, let's go. My sponsor said, all right, let's start calling people. And we started calling people. My friends, people I knew, some people we knew in common, because we're kind of family members and so forth, we just started recruiting. Instantly. There was no 48-hour training. You know what it was? On-the-job training. It was me watching him give the pitch, and I'm listening, I'm watching, I'm learning. And I'm hearing how he answers the objections, right? You got to do that, you guys. It won't be perfect. You don't have to be perfect. But you've got to be in the trenches with your people. If you're not in the trenches, you're not making it happen. We went and tried to recruit a guy named Mark Harrelson that had a big old real estate program, sold books, did big seminars like Harvard and that kind of stuff. We went to talk to this guy and we said, hey, you know what? We've got a great thing. This company's going to go from small to big, and you need to be part of this. And he said, you know what, I've got a great business. I'm really too busy for it, so I'm not going to do your business, and thank you for coming. And on the way out, I said to him, you know, you've got to know somebody who is, you know, tired of what they're doing, does not like what they're about, and they just are looking for a change. And he said, you know, he thought, and he said, you know, he goes, I will give you one name. He said, there's a guy that came to one of our seminars, and he said he lives down in Florida, and his name is Richmond Flowers. I had never heard of this name in my life, okay? Well, apparently he ended up being kind of a famous guy. I didn't know any of this. I called him on my cell phone out of that meeting. I got him on the phone. He was in the futures business down in Florida, and he was selling futures contracts, and he was always like just high stress, like major high stress. He always had to be right by the phone watching his positions and seeing if he's long or short and getting out of those positions or putting on new ones, right? And that's what he was doing. It was major stress. He hated it. He absolutely hated it. He was totally married to the market. He could never even really go on vacation, okay? It's a terrible thing. And he wanted out. And he wanted out bad. I get this guy on the phone. I said, Richmond, he said, you don't know me. My name's Nathan Ricks. I said, I just met with this person in Salt Lake City who gave me your name. And he said, you're a successful guy. And he said that you might be looking for an opportunity. And he goes, yeah, okay, so nice to meet you. What do you got? And I said, the name of the company is New Skin. I said, we got this great opportunity. It's going to be massive. The company is only 5 years old. It's going to go from small to big. You need to hear about it. He says, I have heard about it. He said, funny you would call. I went to a New Skin presentation 7 days ago, and they just had never called me back. True story. And I said, we can take care of that right now. I put him on the phone with the company and signed him up on that phone call. And that day it was a $250 little skincare package in a blue bag, all shrink wrapped together. And I got that thing out in the mail to him, and before we hung up, I said, Richmond, do you really want out? I said, listen, I just started this thing, but I am dead serious. I am going to kill this thing. I said, I'm looking for my leaders. I said, are you serious? I got to know, because I'm not going to waste my time with you if you're not serious. I said, if you're really serious, can you guys hear my posture? I'm not going, oh, will you do it? I mean, would you consider working with me? I don't talk like that to people. I say, I'm picking my team. You know? Do you want to be? Listen to those words. Write them down, you guys. I'm selecting my generals. Okay? And I said, how serious are you? Because if you are, I expect you to call me every day. I want to do 2 or 3 three-way calls every day, and we are going to build your team. And he said, I'll do it. And he did it. And he called me 2, 3, 4 times a day. He really wanted this. He saw it. He was serious about it. Okay? One of the people we talked to one day was sitting right there. Is sitting right there. Paula Cook. Okay? And so I'm just going to hit my clicker here so you can see how we're doing this, right? Okay, so we got Richmond. There he is, right there. And we start calling his people. We called people all over Tennessee and all over Alabama where he grew up, Dothan, Alabama, and people he knew in the futures business all over the place. And Paula was an interesting person that Richmond actually knew, okay? And Paula was working for this really great airline called Eastern Airlines, okay? And I'm not sure how the whole story went. My memory's a little vague, but the reality is, the long and short of it was that Paula wasn't so intrigued in the beginning. You know, I've got this great company. They'll never go out of business. They're just awesome, you know? Well, it didn't take very long, and they were out of business, okay? And Paula became interested in our company. And so Paula got sponsored, okay? And Richmond had Paula right here, and we started working downline. And so all of a sudden, this has been about 2 months, and Richmond says to me, let's go to Dallas, Texas. He said, I used to play for the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, wow, really? You're pretty famous then, huh? And so he says, I know quite a few people there. Why don't we go over there, and we'll start to work on some people that I know in Dallas. And so we both agreed, and this was August now, and I signed up on June 15th of '89. This is August, early August. I've been in the business, 6 weeks or something like that. Richmond is already ripping along in this thing and becoming an executive. And so we decided we're going to fly there. How many of you have talked to somebody on the phone for 6 weeks or maybe a long period of time, you worked with them on the phone all the time, and you form a mental image of what you envision they look like? You've never seen them, but based on their voice, you have this image in your head, right? I envisioned this big football player guy, football, Dallas Cowboys and all that. So we decided we'll meet at DFW Airport this one day. We both fly in. He comes in from Miami. I come in from Salt Lake City. We've talked to this guy who said, okay, I'll set up a meeting and so forth, and we'll get going, and I'll just put his name on the screen. His name is Bob Creech, okay? So there's Bob Creech, and Bob was in the oil futures trading business down there. And so we went down to do a meeting for Bob, and Bob's got it all set up. We fly in there kind of about afternoon, 1, 2 o'clock. We drive down, and we finally meet each other at the terminal, and he got there before me, so he's waiting for me. And I come off the jetway, and I'm kind of looking around, and he goes, are you Nathan Ricks? I said, are you Richmond Flowers? This little skinny guy, And he says, yeah, I am. And I said, okay, we are who we are. Let's go do the meeting. So we took off. We jumped in the car. It was kind of weird. So we jumped in the car, and we go down, and we have a little meeting at Creech's office, and he's got a couple guys there, and he's winding down the day trading, and we decide to go to dinner, and then we're going to go to this meeting at this Hampton Inn off the LBJ freeway. And he's got this little teeny room rented, about 40 people in the room, and it's all set up for that. And I've never really done like a large meeting out of town. I've done a few in town and a few at the offices we have there and so forth, but I've never really done this on the road. I have no slides. I have nothing. I've got this little flip chart. That's what I've got. And so we basically get these guys in the room. It's about 7 o'clock, and they're all kind of showing up, and I'm thinking, all right, pretty good-looking crowd. So Creech stands up and says, hey, we got Richmond Flowers here, he should play for the Cowboys, and some of the people knew his name, and yeah, and so he's a big stud, so he walks up there, and, he gets in front of the room, and he starts telling them about the Cowboys, and they're all kind of doing this Mel bonding thing, okay, that was good. And then he says, now we're going to tell you about the great business. And I got Nathan Ricks right here. Nathan, take it away. And so I'm thinking, oh, okay. So I jump up and I go, man, I'm really excited to be here. We're going to tell you about the hottest thing you've probably ever seen in your life. And I pull out my flip chart, and I'm literally walking around the room like this. I'm showing people. I see that. See this, Look how cool this is. And look at this lady's face and all this stuff, And then here's the compensation plan. And it was about 30 minutes, and it was getting pretty old. I was terrible. It stunk. And these guys are looking around like, when is this going to be over? They're looking at their watches like, well, Richmond is back there talking to a couple of guys, and all of a sudden he figures out what's going on. Why are these guys looking at their watches so much, besides it's a terrible presentation? And he figures out, because they invited him to go, that Creech didn't invite far enough in front of the meeting, and so kind of the last minute he remembered we were coming, And so he told all these guys he'd buy them drinks after the meeting if they all just showed up. So they were really there to get drunk, not really to listen to us. Richmond can be a little hot-headed, okay? He explodes. I mean, he is really furious. He basically drags Creech and throws him through the galleyway doors like these that go into the back kitchen here. And he's got him pinned against the wall back there. And I think he's going to hit him. I'm not quite sure what he's going to do to this guy. And he is hot. He goes, you have me fly all the way over from Miami? You have Nathan fly down from Utah and you just tell these guys to show up so you can get him drunk? I mean, he was literally, I thought, going to pop the guy. And Creech is basically freaked out, and he's saying, okay, listen, I can fix all this. It's okay, Richmond. He says, I know Danny White. I know Danny White from the Dallas Cowboys, and we can get a meeting with him tomorrow. Richmond's a cowboy. He kind of like, okay, all right, and he kind of lets him go. I'm thinking, oh, good, altercation over. This is good. And he says, okay, but you better set it up. Creech goes, I will. I'll set it up. Don't worry. So meeting's over. We go back to the room. We're talking. We actually recruited a guy in the elevator on the way up who became an executive. Okay? 3-foot rule, man. They clip our hands. We're talking to anybody. And so we have this conversation that night. We go to bed. Sure enough, about 8:30 or so, my phone rings. Richmond goes, okay, we got it. It's all set up. Creech will be here in a half hour. Be ready to go. We're going to go see Danny White. I'm like, I've seen him on TV, you know? This guy's all pro. This is a big deal. I'm really pumped. I played a little football in my day, so I'm really excited about this. I can't quite believe it's happening. And so we get in the car, and we drive about an hour. His office is in McKinney, Texas, about an hour outside of Dallas, right? So we're driving way up there. We get to his office. It's 10 o'clock meeting, and we walk in, and, you know, there's like trophies everywhere. There's Dallas Cowboys stuff everywhere. I am like really juiced. I'm thinking, this is great. They finally let us in his office. The whole wall is a mural of him, you know, throwing the ball. I mean, it's like huge. More trophies, everything. And he goes, how you doing? I'm Danny White, you know? I'm just like, I'm starstruck.